What's up guys, I'm randomfrankp. Today we got another gaming mouse review for you. We're going to be checking out the glorious PC gaming race Model O. One of the lightest, most anticipated gaming mouse of 2019. Finally got my hands on it. And yes, we're going to go over it all, talk about the features, the weight, the different options they have, pros and cons, all that good stuff, in case you're thinking of picking up the Model O mouse. First up, the glorious O comes in 4 different variants, as noted by the sticker on the packaging. You can pick from the matte black mouse at 67 grams, matte white at 67 grams as well, glossy black at 68, and then a glossy white at 68 grams. And the main physical difference here is just how it feels in your hand, with glossy providing more of a natural grip versus a matte coated mouse, which is probably something you're more used to. Both matte versions are only $49.99, while the glossy versions are $59.99. Still extremely budget friendly for a mouse like this. But yeah, between the two, the finish is the main difference and that 1 extra gram. Also inside the box is some basic product info, a card from their CEO, and some stickers. But taking a look at it, as you can see, you have that honeycomb textured cutout to shave down some of the weight to either the 67 or 68 grams, and it has this simple ergonomic design to it. To give you a look at the finishes, this version here is the matte white. Then glossy is going to be more polished and reflective again, as you can see, and you just have more of that natural grip against your skin. And the sleek glossy black definitely looks nice, although you're going to want to wipe this thing down from those fingerprints. And then you have the stealthy matte black option, which I'm going to bet is going to be their top seller. The only branding is on the sides, thankfully not slapped on top of the mouse. Left is the glorious bearded man, and on the right side literally just says glorious, really tiny. The Model O has 6 total buttons, and yes, even RGB lighting at this price. The scroll wheel illuminates as well as the sides of the mouse. While it doesn't add anything besides just visual flair, it's still a nice addition for people who crave RGB. But it is nice and rather unheard of for a company to launch a mouse with 4 different options for their first release. And this just gives people the complete choice to pick whichever mouse they prefer. Moving on in terms of size, it's 128 millimeters long, 61 millimeters wide at the tip, 59 millimeters wide at the waist, and 66 millimeters wide at the hips. It stands 37 millimeters tall at its highest point, and for being ambidextrous, I'm usually more of a claw grip user myself, but using a palm grip here I found was very comfortable. It's actually what I prefer with palming this mouse. Obviously depending on your hand size though, mine are medium size at around 7.5 inches, and that's just what I've been used to. Next up, complementing the lightweight honeycomb shell, is their Ascended cord. It's 6.5 feet long, and you've seen, paracord mods in the past. Finalmouse also uses a paracord, but this Ascended cord is extremely lightweight and flexible, and honestly, if you were blindfolded and just held this in your hand, you'd probably think it's a wireless mouse. Advantages to using a paracord like this are it heavily decreases any potential snag or tension from the cable on your desk, which is often why people buy mouse bungees. I'm telling you, the Ascended cord is like a feather. So you put all that lightweight stuff together and FPS gamers can flick their way to unlimited headshots. Well, kidding, obviously, but gaming on this was definitely nice and crisp, but I mean the arm-around switches here feel really nice. Take a listen. They are rated for 20 million clicks, and the scroll wheel also has this nice deep grooved rubber texture on it that feels very satisfying to use. Below that is the DPI switcher, and speaking of which, let's talk the goods, the sensor. The Model O uses the Pixar 3360, and yes, at this point it is slightly dated, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Used from the likes of Corsair, SteelSeries, Zowie, Cooler Master in the past, the list goes on. But yeah, the 3360 is still more than fine, and it helps consumers in the end save money, which is why it is so affordable. It is a 400 to 12,000 DPI sensor, 1000 Hz polling rate at 1 millisecond, and your DPI indicator visually is on the bottom of the mouse. You can kind of see the lights there to represent your DPI level. This can be configured in the software to pick your color for each of the DPI settings, but we'll get into the software in a minute. You'll also notice on the bottom of the mouse, the feet. These are called G-skates. It's very similar to hyperglides out there you can buy to put on other mice, but this personally was just immediately noticeable to me and was a pleasant surprise. I haven't tried hyperglides in the past or anything, but these G-skates just feel really nice, provide a really smooth gliding experience. You can see, just even for a lightweight mouse, give it a little push and it'll coast a few inches. Now into the software, very self-explanatory, nothing too fancy. On the left side is your layout where you can reconfigure what the 6 buttons do, change them up for multimedia keys, assign any button as like a fire key, cycle through DPI, or even from assigning, macros that you can create in here. Then over to the right, the first tab is the DPI setting. Again, this is where you can kind of change it up, assign it as a color coded to that light on the bottom of the mouse. Then you have the lighting tab you saw before with the mouse wheel and the 2 lighting strips running down the mouse. To give you a look, the first standard effect is the glorious mode, aka the 16.8 million RGB rainbow wave. Next is seamless breathing, which just smoothly shifts from color to color. Then breathing alternatively fades out in between colors. Single color, pretty obvious. Use the color palette to pick which color you like. And then again, breathing will then pulse that color in and out. Winding down is the tail effect. This kind of just like sends an RGB comet down the mouse. Rave quickly flashes between 2 colors of your choice. And then lastly, wave is like a slower mosh pit of random colors. Definitely doesn't look as smooth or fluent as the glorious mode setting. But yeah, these are the effects. Then into the mouse parameter tab. Here you can adjust some things like the scrolling wheel speed, lift-off distance, and I wouldn't touch the sensitivity here because that's just gonna mess with your current DPI. And the last tab is for changing the USB polling rate. So wrapping it all up, going over all the features, gaming with this has been extremely pleasant. 0 issues whatsoever. And having a very lightweight mouse like this, yes, I'll admit it, is definitely a nice change up from the wireless G502 that I've been using for the past few weeks. I've been using this for the last 11 days straight, I wanna say. And yeah, having a 67 gram mouse feels really great. All the features could be pretty much pros that I've mentioned throughout. The one con that I will say, and I'm definitely nitpicking here, is I wish the sensor could go below 400, only because, like I said, on the G502, I'm used to that little sniper button where I could, even on here, set like the back button to be a DPI shift down to, I'd say 200 DPI, just for like a sniping situation or something like that. We can only go 400 on here. Not a big deal. I usually play at 500 DPI as it is, but again, minor for $50. If you want to spend the extra $10 even for it to be $60, I was really surprised at how nice the glossy finish was. It just feels a lot different than I thought it would, and it just gives you a really nice natural grip in your hand. So black, white, glossy, matte, you get the pick. So you combine that with the lightweight form factor, the ascended cord, the RGB lighting, well, not even necessary, and it's still $50. That's revolutionary. And you gotta give them credit. I'll even say myself, like, it's not too often I'll come across a product on the channel that completely blows me away, but for this price, it absolutely did. Other companies could have easily charged double, and glorious PC gaming race could have even charged double, but they didn't. And for that, at this price, I think it's absolutely gonna blow up on the market, gonna be a top seller. So make sure you hop on it while you can. I'll put a link down below because I got a feeling these are gonna sell very fast, very quickly. But also stay tuned on the channel because I'll be comparing the Model O to the Finalmouse Ninja Air58. Had a lot of requests for this video, so stay tuned very soon. But that'll wrap it up for my review of the glorious PC gaming race Model O. Hands down, one of the best gaming peripherals for $50. If you like the review, give it a thumbs up to show your support. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at randomfrankp. And lastly, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.